Welcome to Pop Cult, where we talk reality TV, celebrity chaos, and pop culture throwbacks.
Tomorrow is 420, aka the day when the most insufferable people you know feel the need to remind you that they smoke weed.
Yeah. It's also the birthday of two of the animals I work with, which I think is really funny because it's so fitting
Aw.
for who they are.
Aww. Anyway, if anyone out there is listening and you are gonna post about how much you love weed on 420, please refrain from doing so. Because it's really weird.
It's really weird.
Anyway.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Pop Cult. We're your hosts. I'm Julia.
And I'm Avery.
And we post 2 episodes every single week. Tuesdays are for the Reality Digest, where we talk about last week's reality chaos and all of the current shows. And Thursdays are for our Fame Files, where we talk about past pop culture events, pop culture people in pop culture, whatever we want, honestly. And today is Fame Files Day.
It is. We are talking about Anna Nicole Smith, specifically the death of, but as I was writing this, I was like, I kind of feel like this is a little bit of like a hybrid about her death, but a little bit of a celebrity deep dive as well, because obviously it adds a lot of context, her life does, to the way that she died. So yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Marilyn Monroe episode a little bit. I think actually that was a pretty common comparison when it came to her. But do you know anything about her?
No, literally nothing.
I didn't either.
Yeah, nope. Nothing's coming to mind. Was she an actress?
Yeah, kind of. Partially.
Okay.
I guess you could say. It's funny, when I was writing this, I did a lot of research with like articles and stuff. I also watched a documentary about her, and it occurred to me that there may be a generational gap here, because she died when we were really young and she was very famous in the height of her career. So I'm kind of like almost wishing that we had one of our moms here to add some context. So just bear with us. But I think I captured it pretty well. But yeah, it's like tough because it's like fun for me when I get to learn something new in these episodes, but also I'm not sure that I fully understood how famous she was going into this, because she died when we were so little. So without further ado, on February 8th, 2007, Anna Nicole Smith was found dead in a hotel room in Dania Beach. Dania, do you know what? It's in Florida. Do you know how to pronounce that?
Oh, Lord. No idea.
Okay,
Dania?
Sure. She was found dead in a hotel room in Florida. Her cause of death at the time was ruled an accidental overdose from sleeping pills and a combination of other drugs. She was 39 years old, so very young. The medical examiner officially said that the cause of death was combined drug intoxication.
Yikes.
And the chief of police did confirm that they found nothing to indicate any foul play. The autopsy also found no evidence of any sort of disease or illness or anything that, would have caused a premature death, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And the medical examiner who did the initial examination also said that there were no major injuries, nor were there any illegal drugs in her system, just prescription.
Dang, okay.
I know. Many of these prescriptions were found in the hotel room with her. She had gotten to this hotel on February 5th, so just a few days before she died, because in 4 days, she was supposed to go on a yacht trip with her partner at the time, a man named Howard Stern, which we will be talking about him a lot.
I do know Howard Stern.
You don't. It's a different Howard Stern.
Oh.
I thought the same thing when I first saw his name, and I was like, there's no way it's the same guy. It's not. But basically, he was preparing to buy a yacht, and so they were in Florida preparing for that purchase, and unfortunately, she did pass away. Allegedly, she was sick with a stomach flu when she died, so all in all, minor illness. And the day of her death, her partner, Howard, had left the hotel to go to an appointment about the boat that they wanted to buy, and her friends who were traveling with her were supposed to keep an eye on her because they knew that she had been a little under the weather.
Okay.
But then they realized that she wasn't breathing, and her bodyguard.
Were they just sitting in there with her?
Did
they check on her?
I would say they probably checked on her. Maybe they were like, oh, it's kind of weird that she's not awake yet. Okay. And then they went in to check on her. If I had to guess, I don't technically know. So her bodyguard tries to resuscitate her. They call 911. for some reason there was like a 40-minute window in between
It's
them
always
finding
like that in
her.
these cases. It's always like that.
I know. And I couldn't find specifically whether it was like 40 minutes from when they called the first responders or 40 minutes from when they found her. I would hope that it wouldn't be when they called the first responders because that's like really bad. But by the time that they did arrive, she had already died, which is very tragic. And she was so young and beautiful. But backing up a little bit, I'm going to talk a little bit about her background and then we'll come back to the very tragic circumstances surrounding her death. Her real name is actually Vicki Lynn, and she was from Texas, a very small town called, I think Mahia is how you pronounce it. It's spelled Mexia, but I think it's Mahia. I just thought this was like a funny detail. She used to work at a restaurant called Crispy Fried Chicken, crispy spelled with a K, like Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme.
Crispy Fried Chicken.
Krispy Fried Chicken. That's what you said.
Yeah. But anyway, that's like, it's like totally arbitrary and literally doesn't matter, but I just thought it was funny that they like spelled crispy the way that Krispy Kreme does. Anywho,
Gotta do it.
her claim to fame, as you were asking about, is that she was a model and one of the most successful Playboy models of the 90s.
Okay.
Yes, she was also a very famous Guess model, you know, like the jeans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever owned any of those.
Me neither. I don't feel as though it's like a super sorry to guess. I don't feel as though it's like a super relevant brand anymore, but I definitely think it was very famous in the 90s. By 1993 though, she was Playboy's Playmate of the Year, and it only took her about a year with Playboy to earn this achievement, I guess.
Okay.
In spring of 1992, she was on the March cover of Playboy, and then only 2 months later, she was the May centerfold, which I don't know a lot about Playboy. I think the centerfold is like a big deal.
Got it. Because it's the one you can like lay flat.
I guess so. It's like disturbing. I don't really want to think about
weird.
it. She seemed, from everything that I saw and read about her, to be an extremely outgoing and bubbly person. She loved the camera, and it was very obvious that she really liked being famous. She was even quoted saying once, quote, "I love the paparazzi. I didn't get very much growing up, and I always wanted to be, noticed."
Got it. I'm gonna look up what this girl looks like.
She's beautiful. Truly, like, when you just look at someone, you're like, you really hit the genetic lottery. That's her.
Oh, because she died in 2000s. For some reason, I was thinking this was like way longer ago. I was like, she looks so modern.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But yeah, she's beautiful. People, like I said, compared her a lot to Marilyn Monroe. Just like her kind of before her time personality is how I would put it. Just made to be famous. And after her death, the Playboy founder Hugh Hefner said about her, quote, "She was a very dear friend who meant a great deal to Playboy and to me personally."
Okay, Hugh.
Yeah. Okay. Go off, King. I'm backing up a little bit and this is gonna throw you for a loop. In 1991, she met her late husband, actually her second husband, but she got married when she was really young because she got pregnant. But we're not really going to talk about her first ex-husband.
Or so she has kids.
Yes, she does. Her second husband was, hold on to your seat, an 89-year-old man named Howard Marshall, who was a Texas oil tycoon.
Not to be confused with Howard Stern, who's
correct.
Not Howard Stern.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I know.
Got it.
I told you it's going to be a lot. She met old Howard at a nightclub where she was working at the time. I think she was like a stripper, and that's how she met him. They got married in 1994. He was 26, and as I said, he was 89.
Gross.
Sadly, just a year later in 1995, he did pass away, and I read that at the time of his death that they were not living together, and he was actually having a really hard time getting a hold of her. Like, she kind of married him and then just like disappeared a little bit. She did talk a lot about how their relationship was not a physical one and that it really was just like one of companionship. And specifically, she said about him that he took her out of a terrible place. He cared for her and her son, and in return, she took care of him. And she loved him for that.
Okay, then why did she ditch him in the end?
I mean, I think it's just like she was on drugs, which we'll we'll get to, but
Oh,
if
okay.
I had to guess, that's probably what it was. Like, I just think she was a kind of a chaotic person, just sort of couldn't be tied down. Obviously, though, his family did not approve. They're like, this woman is a gold digger. It's evident to all of us. So after he died, she proceeded to fight against his son for years. And when I say years, I really mean it, for a share of his estate. It even ended up getting to the point where it went to the Supreme Court in 2006, and they ruled that like she should be able to be allowed to fight for part of his fortune. So that was like a step in her favor to eventually claim her portion. In total, I think it was around 500 million,
Jeez.
but also I think it could have even been more than that, because his will stated that his entire estate was 1.6 billion. And she was going for around 44 million was what she was targeting. But unfortunately, his will stated that the entire 1.6 billion dollar estate would go to his son and nothing to Anna, but she was challenging it because she had said that he promised her that she would get something when he died. But like, to me, I mean, yes, they were married, so I guess it depends. I don't really know if there was I didn't find any information on like a prenup or anything.
Wait, but how long were they married? Just like a year?
Yeah, like a year, because they got married in
Oh,
94
then
and he
like
died in 95.
I'm just not sure she should needs anything out of that.
Totally. And like another thing that I saw, which again, I don't know how true this is, but basically I either read or saw in the documentary somebody saying like he had been giving her money throughout their marriage that he felt would sustain her even after his passing. So he was, I think in his mind, he's probably like, oh, well, she's set because I've already given, I think the specific number was around 14 million, but like she had been
Wow.
spending it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't necessarily think she's like entitled to anything, not unless it's in the will. This court battle did not end until it reached the Supreme Court in 2010. So keep in mind that's 3 years after she died. I believe by June 2011 they had ruled that she had no right to anything. But I
Wait,
think
so they didn't reach that till after she was dead.
yes, till after she was dead. But I think it was actually not. I also read somewhere that it was not even until the end of 2018 that the case was closed. And eventually we'll get to this, but she does have a daughter. And that aspect, I think, was saying like her daughter will not inherit anything.
Sucks for the daughter.
Yeah. So, which her daughter will be fine. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at upwards of 20 years that this thing has been going on, or at least 10, which is just crazy. Another thing about her is that she actually had a reality show in 2002 called The Anna Nicole Show, which was basically just like following her life. It came out during a time where reality shows were not a thing, and I think it was pretty disruptive, and also a lot of the time on the show, I think she was shown under the influence of drugs.
Did it last for a while or just like a season?
No, it didn't last for super long. I think it was only like maybe like 2 years, but I don't even think it was that many episodes. But this is where you will start to see her other Howard Stern, pop up, who was actually her attorney. He handled her modeling contracts in the late 90s, and they met after her former husband died, and she asked for his help, like contesting the will. So he was essentially her co-star on this show, and it soon became evident that they were in a relationship of some sort, which to me is like a conflict of interest given that like he was her attorney.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't love that, Howard. And then September 2006 is when she and Howard decided that they wanted to commit to one another, and so they had what they called a commitment ceremony, which was basically that they were symbolically married, but it was not a legal marriage.
Well, that's sketch.
Right. But around the same time, she gives birth to her daughter, and it would be very soon after that that the paternity of her newborn daughter would start to be questioned, because she had an ex-boyfriend, a man named Larry Burkhead, who was a photographer, and he was claiming that he was the father, but then Anna was claiming that Howard was the father. Young Howard, not old Howard.
I was about to say new Howard or old Howard.
New Howard.
Because it wouldn't be possible with dead Howard.
Probably not. Yeah, probably
Well,
not.
this is 2006,
Well,
and he died
yes.
in 95. Yeah.
Exactly. And because she was claiming that Howard was the father, he was also the person who was listed on the birth certificate as the father.
Okay.
And because the baby was born in the Bahamas, which we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that, they have different rules about like what happens if the father on the birth certificate isn't actually the real father, if that makes sense. So,
Well, like,
this
they get in trouble? Like,
I just don't know if you can dispute it. Like if it's already on the birth certificate. I couldn't find super like a ton of details into it, but it ultimately resulted in what I think was a pretty ugly custody battle. And I believe that there was even a third man claiming to be the father. Don't really know anything else about him. But eventually there was a DNA test as part of the paternity lawsuit in April of 2007 after, once again, after her death, which did prove that Larry was the actual father.
so she was cheating on Howard?
Yeah, like I guess so. Either that or like they just had their relationship wasn't that serious, or they had an open relationship before that was a thing.
Okay.
But yeah, so she has her daughter. Her name is Danny Lynn, all one word.
Got it.
Thought that was an interesting name. And Danny Lynn is who would ultimately be the sole inheritor of Anna's estate. But unfortunately, 3 days after Danny Lynn was born, her oldest son that I mentioned earlier that she had when she was young passed away from what appeared to be an overdose.
Oh. Well, that sucks.
So she has I know. It's like, how tragic is that? She has her daughter, and then
her
3
son
days
dies.
later, she loses her son, who, like, he was only 20 years old, and there was some discussion about, like, suspicious circumstances in regard to his death. Ultimately, that was not ended up being the case, but he was found dead in the hospital room where she was staying while she was recovering from her daughter's birth.
So he died in her room?
Yeah.
What, was she like, sleeping?
I do think she was. I think she was in her hospital bed.
Oh.
And he had just gone all the way to the Bahamas to meet his new little sister.
That's horrible.
Yeah. When they did the autopsy, it appeared to be an overdose due to methadone and antidepressants, a combination of the two. But jumping forward to 2008, her son's death had like gone into an investigation because they were suspecting some sort of foul play, but it did come to a close when a Bahamas jury ruled that it was an accidental drug overdose and that there would be no criminal charges. But it was also really strange because in the jury ruling, at least I thought that this was strange, they said that the cause of death was non-dependent use of drugs, which means that he was not a drug addict or like consistently using drugs. And if that is what killed him, then he didn't know. Isn't that strange?
Yeah. That's really weird.
But then he had huge doses of methadone and antidepressants in his system. So make it make sense.
Kind of sounds like foul play to me.
I agree. Her ex, Larry, Danny Lynn's father, did testify at one point that Daniel was an addict and that he did have issues with drug and alcohol, but Howard said that he had never seen Daniel using substances.
That's so... Ugh, okay.
I know. It's so weird, and like
but like,
not to disappoint you.
Who would kill him though?
That's the thing. Like I don't know. It's almost just giving like maybe he took something that was laced. That's the only, like, unfortunately, not to be disappointing, but I don't have an answer. Like, that's how it ended. Do you remember when we did the Marilyn Monroe episode a really long time ago when we talked about Dr. Cyril Wecht? Do you remember him?
Yes.
So he actually comes up again in this episode, and I guess I'm not really sure, like, is this man like an autopsy technician for all the celebrities? Like, I don't really understand why he's back again. I actually want to say he came up
back?
Yes, I actually want to say he came up in the Brittany Murphy episode too.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he did a second autopsy on Daniel after being hired privately. I don't know by who. And he ruled that Daniel did die from a combination of methadone, Zoloft, and Lexapro, which are both antidepressants. So like ultimately we have a second autopsy. It's the same result. Which, I don't know, it's so tough, but I just really thought it was strange that this random doctor, like, keeps popping up in our episodes.
Yeah, very weird.
Like, is he's just lurking around, waiting for another celebrity to pass away? It's really strange to me. Anyway, in Daniel's funeral program, Anna wrote about him, quote, "My dearest son Daniel, you were my rock. You were the only one that could keep me solid. Why God took you away from me, I do not understand. Perhaps someday I will. It is so hard to think of you, but I do every second.
That's really tough to go through.
And a lot of people will say that her son's death really just broke her heart and would be part of the reason why she died just 5 months later. In my opinion, things start to get a little bit weird surrounding the circumstances of her death. Allegedly, a day or two before she was found dead, her fever had spiked to 105 degrees, and her psychiatrist had prescribed her an antibiotic, but nobody thought to take her to the hospital.
Okay.
Her ex and the father of her daughter, Larry, said that he thinks that she didn't go to the hospital before her death because she was just afraid that it would become a headline. I don't really know if I believe that, just because like 105-degree fever, like I'm pretty sure you're supposed to go to the hospital if it's like over 103.
I was about to say, I actually have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it definitely could be true, but I think it's one of those things where she might have said to whoever was with her, like, no, don't take me to the hospital. I don't want to be a headline, but you take her to the hospital anyways.
Yeah. This says if you ever have over 103 fever, you should go.
Yeah.
103, 104. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I mean, obviously, like, this was almost 20 years ago, but I don't really feel like that's a new rule.
Yeah, I guess.
The other weird thing is that her husband was up at like 10 a.m. that morning, took a shower, got ready, and just didn't check on her.
Asshole.
So I don't know. That to me is weird. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just saying I think it's weird. And then also there was a pharmacist that her husband, that I'm just gonna call him her husband. I know that they're not legally married, but it's gonna confuse me. Her husband, her psychiatrist, and another doctor were working with, who actually 5 days before her son passed declined to refill really high dosages of multiple meds for her. And his reasoning was that he was concerned that this could be an instance of pharmaceutical suicide. For example, the methadone doses that they were requesting were nearly 4 times the amount that would be prescribed to a full-blown heroin addict.
Oh.
Yeah. Methadone is the drug that they use to treat heroin addicts and meth addicts, because it's like, I mean, I could be totally wrong about this. Hopefully I'm not. But from what I understand, like, you can't just quit those medications. It will,
Yeah,
like, the detox would kill you.
It's a long-acting opioid, synthetic opioid,
Okay.
used to treat opioid use disorder and severe chronic pain by reducing cravings and withdrawal symptoms.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. Dictionary.com.
Mm-hmm.
But the one drug that seemed to be like the main one in her system was called chloral hydrate, which is a sedative or like a sleeping pill that they use to treat insomnia as well as alcohol withdrawal. It can also be used as an anxiety med, and it is sometimes prescribed after surgery to manage pain. Keep that in mind. But it is an extremely powerful sleeping aid, and it essentially was the tipping point of everything else that ultimately took this from like her just having a bunch of drugs in her system to the drugs in her system causing her to die, overdose and die. It was prescribed on January 1st, and so just over a month before her death, and only about 1/3 of the bottle was left when she died, as well as 62 missing pills from a Valium prescription that had been filled only 2 weeks prior.
Okay.
We then come to find out that the psychiatrist was the one who was prescribing all of these medications that were found with her.
No.
No, that was the pharmacist.
Got it.
But the psychiatrist is the one who sent that prescription in to the pharmacist that said no.
Got it. So he just found a new way.
Yes, exactly. In total, I read that there were like 11 total prescriptions found in her hotel room. And all in all, there were 600 pills missing from these prescriptions combined. And the oldest prescription that was present was not even 5 weeks old.
So they're alleging that she took all of these?
Yeah, I mean, we technically don't know, but yeah, like, I don't think the pharmacist or her husband were on pills. At least I didn't find anything that said that they were.
Okay.
And weirdly enough, as if it could get any weirder, all of these prescriptions were not even necessarily prescribed to her. They were prescribed to a combination of Howard, the psychiatrist, and another person, like maybe an alias or something, but not Anna. And she herself only had 3 muscle relaxant.
So 3 of the
prescriptions.
11 were her.
Yes. A few weeks after her death, the medical examiner had asked the psychiatrist to give him a total number of medications that she had been taking, and it totaled to 44.
What on earth?
Like, what? But then the same thing, it was like a bunch of them were being written to different people.
So he's exposing himself to this medical examiner? The psychiatrist?
Yeah,
Or,
I
sorry,
guess
the
so. I mean,
medical. Yeah, the medical.
yeah, I guess so. Like, she would have to, because now they need to know what caused her death.
Yeah.
It even came out that she was being prescribed some of these things during her pregnancy with
Oh.
Danny Lynn.
Oh.
Yeah. This part is like super strange to me, and I really was kind of surprised when I read this because I didn't even know that this was a thing. She also had an infection on her butt from repeated injections.
Got it.
It is also said that this did contribute to her death as well, in a sense. According to her nannies, while in the Bahamas after Anna had her daughter, the psychiatrist would visit periodically and bring a bunch of medications, and then the psychiatrist would crush up the pills and heat them to make a liquid, and that's what was being injected into her butt.
What?
That was like mind-blowing to me.
Wait, that's why? Why was she on all of this? Did she even like know what was happening?
I mean, it's like I have to believe that she was at least somewhat lucid, but also like I don't think she probably was fit to deny anything that they were giving her.
Okay.
Also, like, she's an addict, so you know, anything that's going to make her feel better, she's not going to probably say
Is
no
that
to.
like a fact, like that she was a drug addict?
Yes. Sorry, I should have said that explicitly. Yeah, so that was really strange to me though, because correct me if I'm wrong, but is that not what people literally do with like crack? Like, they heat it up?
I'm so sorry, I would not know. I hate.
Can you look it up?
No, I'm not Googling that.
What? Put it on an incognito browser.
What? How to inject crack?
Sorry, it's not funny, but it is.
No, it gave me the suicide hotline.
Look up, do drug addicts melt crack or heat up crack?
My FBI agent's going crazy right now.
I know. He's gonna be like, we've taken such a sharp turn.
I got it again. Cocaine fast facts. Thank you. How is crack abused? Okay. Who uses crack? I'm just not going to find the answer that we want.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure that they heat it up. So that's why this is so concerning to me, because like, why are we like, it's one thing to be prescribing somebody pills. It's another thing to be administering them yourself when you are not like, this person is a psychiatrist, not like I like don't know the right word for it, but you know what I mean? Like, this person is not somebody whose primary function is giving people injections of things. That's not what a psychiatrist is, for at least from what I understand, or not their main function, I should say. And clearly everybody else thought that this was weird too, because cut to 2009, Howard Stern is officially charged with conspiring to furnish drugs to Anna.
What does furnish mean?
I don't know.
A serious criminal charge where 2 or more people agree to provide, supply, and distribute controlled substances illegally. Furnishing generally means giving, transferring, or selling drugs to others.
Okay, that's what I thought. Not like he's providing them to her. He's providing drugs to an addict. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was arrested in California on a $20,000 bail, and in addition to his arrest, the 2 doctors, including the psychiatrist, were charged as well for prescribing medication unlawfully. Essentially, the claim is that the 3 of them conspired to provide controlled substances to Anna between June of 2004 and January of 2007. And
so they were like basically trying to like make her die.
Like, whether it was intentional or not, yes, that's what they were doing.
I don't understand how they would think that wasn't gonna lead to her death, especially when he's injecting it into her butt.
Right, and that's why it's so strange to me that, like, it's giving almost like Munchausen's a little bit. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like I say that a lot, but I feel like I said that in the Brittany Murphy case too. But yeah, I mean, like, they were charged
Her daughter
with...
looks like her.
Yeah, she does.
I'm on Larry's Instagram. Well,
aww,
he shares the Instagram with Danny Lynn.
Oh, I want to follow him. That's sweet. And to think they tried to say that he wasn't her father. How insane is that?
Wait, it says, I don't know if it's actually him. It says official Instagram for Larry Burkhead.
Oh. It might not be.
I don't know.
Is
But
it
it's
verified?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
verified.
then it probably is him. But yeah, so the three of them were charged with prescribing, administering, or dispensing a controlled substance to an addict. And basically, from what I read, they were charged just short of homicide.
Great. Should have been charged homicide.
I agree. They all three pleaded not guilty, and Howard's lawyer basically said that he was just putting his trust in her doctors to prescribe what she needed. The exact quote was, "I don't think anyone can say that Howard K. Stern didn't love Anna and didn't attempt in his way to do the best thing for her."
What?
What? Your wife is addicted to drugs. Put her in rehab. That would be the best thing for her.
You didn't check on her when she was like dying.
Right. And also, she had just lost her son 5 months earlier. Like, the solution to that is not to just give her more drugs. Anyway, one of the attorneys for one of the doctors said that they likely wouldn't have even been charged had Anna not been a celebrity, and that they were just trying to help her cope with her son's death.
So he's saying that people who aren't famous shouldn't be treated, right?
Right. Well, thank God she was charged, because if this were some poor person who who wasn't in the public eye, they would have basically been killed by these people who were supplying them with drugs, and we never would have known about it. Like, hello. If that's what they were trying to say to make their client look better, they failed. Anyway, March 12th, 2009, Howard and the two doctors surrendered to their charges that they fraudulently conspired to provide Anna with thousands of prescription medications before she overdosed. Howard was facing 6 felony counts, and the two doctors were each facing 7. And in October 2010, the jury came to a decision which they deliberated on for 13 days, and the only one that was cleared of all the charges was Dr. Sandeep Kapoor, who was he was the other doctor, not the psychiatrist. And I couldn't figure out what kind of doctor he was either. I tried to look it up and I couldn't. I don't know if I just missed it, but
so how did he get away with it?
Yeah, it just says he's a physician. He basically just said that, like, he thought that she was in pain. Like, I thought she had legitimate pain, and so that's why which whatever. I mean, that my thing is, like, I've literally heard doctors say before, like, I'm not going to treat one symptom. Like, I'm not going to treat a symptom of a medication with a medication. So, like, I guess I don't understand how we have so many prescriptions stacked on top of each other, and, like, that's not a red flag for any doctor, for someone who's as young as she is.
Yeah, okay.
But he said about this, quote, "I feel surreal, elated, shell-shocked. It's been almost 4 years. With the support of my patients, family, we made it through."
Okay.
But the psychiatrist and Howard were charged. The psychiatrist was found guilty of 4 counts, 2 for conspiracy and 2 for prescribing and furnishing sedatives and opiates to an addict. What she had to say about this was, "I don't think I did anything wrong. I don't have any regrets. Anna Nicole had legitimate problems, had legitimate pain. I'm hoping for a compassionate sentence."
Shut up.
Right. Howard was cleared of 7 counts, but convicted of 2 felony charges for conspiring to use fake names and false pretenses to obtain prescriptions. What he had to say about this was, "What the jury did find me guilty of were 2 conspiracy counts limited exclusively to my name being used on a medication for Anna. Now, this was done to protect Anna Nicole's privacy, and it was nothing more than that."
I don't believe you. I don't think I believe that.
Big fat liar. Big fat liar. Anyway, they were facing max 3 years in state prison, but at minimum probation. And a lot of the charges were thrown out because the prosecutors had failed to prove that they intentionally broke the law when getting all the prescriptions under aliases.
I feel like that's just not allowed.
Like, I guess I just don't understand how you as a physician don't understand that it's illegal to put a prescription for one person under the name of another.
You know what you were doing was wrong.
Exactly. You did not pull it over on us.
Nope.
And possibly the most messed up thing about all this is that Howard's conviction was later dismissed when he appealed it. Like, what? So he appeals it, he goes free. Honestly, I don't really know what he's been up to since then. Same with either of the doctors, other than I'm pretty sure that Howard was hired in 2019 as a public defender for the LA County Public Defender's Office. So the fact that he's, like, still working as a lawyer is crazy.
That's scary.
After he was literally convicted. I mean, I know it was overturned, but, like, what? I don't get it. As for Anna, she was eventually buried in the Bahamas next to her son. And even where she was buried was a fight. Like her whole life, I just feel like was just like a series of fights with people. Her husband wanted to bury her next to her son, which is obviously what happened. But her mom, who she was estranged with, wanted to bring her back to Texas. A little bit on their relationship that I didn't get too deep into because it was a bit strange to me. They no longer were really in touch when Anna died because she had said publicly before that she suffered severe abuse at the hands of her mom when she was a child. But according to her brother and some other people in her life that knew her, it was not true. And her mom is no longer alive either, but I read something that her mom basically said, like, Anna, like, why do you lie about these things? And her response was, because I do a lot better when I sell good stories rather than real stories.
Okay, that was a thing to say.
That's a thing to say. I mean, I guess supposedly we'll never know. As for her daughter, she lives with Larry, her dad, who I really think he's done a lot to keep her out of the spotlight. I don't think that anyone in Anna's family has a relationship with her daughter. I think if her son had not passed, he would. He seemed like they were very close, but I don't think that really Danny Lynn has a lot of connection to her mom's side of the family at all. But I am glad that she's like, I had never heard of her daughter before, and sometimes I feel like, we'll start to hear about celebrity kids when they start to get a bit older. So I kind of hope that her dad keeps her away. But yeah, that is the story of Anna Nicole Smith's death. Very strange circumstances. Very strange death.
Yeah, for sure. Crazy story. I do appreciate that she actually had like a true, I don't want to say ending, but like with Marilyn Monroe, we still don't really know what happened.
Right.
And so I appreciate that she got that kind of peace. But we still don't know what happened with Marilyn. But crazy that they're kind of similar stories.
I know. And like, even when she was at the height of her career, people would compare her to Marilyn all the time. I don't know. To me, it just feels like a very weird, almost, which again, I feel like I always throw out this word and like I'm not a medical professional. It just feels like a form of Munchausen's to me.
And that's when you make people sick so they don't leave you.
Yeah. Like, I guess that's one way that it could, appear in somebody. But like, to me, it just feels like they were purposely feeding her these drugs when they knew that she didn't need all of them. Or better yet, if she did need them, she needed help. She needed to go to rehab.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, which I do think that she actually did go to rehab at one point back in the 90s. I don't think it was successful. I also did read something that, like, one of the reasons that she became so dependent on pills was that she had had a boob job and one of her implants ruptured and like tore her nipple, which, like,
Nope.
how horrific.
I'm good.
Yeah, and the pain caused her to become really dependent on painkillers.
Yep. Pass.
So I mean, I think it was probably like a cocktail of things, for lack of a better word, but I definitely do think that both of the doctors and Howard needed a criminal punishment.
Yeah, me too.
In my humble opinion. Anyway, that is the story of Anna Nicole Smith. Not an uplifting one, but
no, but
informative. Let's see, what do we have coming up? Okay, so next week's Fame File is going to be about the divorce of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West.
Beautiful.
Very excited for that episode. I learned a lot writing it, or just resurfaced things that I had completely forgotten about. And I feel like I don't know that we've ever done, I want to say we haven't done a celebrity divorce since like Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt.
Maybe not.
That's so crazy. Let me make sure that that's true.
God, that was the early days.
I know, we've done so many episodes.
That was back when I used to listen to them.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Ryan Reynolds and Scarlett Johansson was the only other one.
Still an early day.
Still early days. So this will be our first like celebrity divorce in a while. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Hopefully I didn't say anything wrong about medical things.
To me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I hope that you learned something from this episode. that your prescriptions should be in your name.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not, you should look into that.
Totally.
And yeah, have a great rest of your week. Find some gossip and join us next week.
Yes, and
Bye.
listen to us on Tuesdays for our
Oh,
reality
yeah.
digest. Ta-ta, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week for more pop culture chaos.
The stories we cover are based on research and publicly available sources. While we strive for accuracy, some details may be disputed or unverified, and this episode is for entertainment and informational purposes only.